Women in Victorian England decided that the plug-type solution was for the birds and just started free bleeding into their clothes. Sounds like something I would do. Periods are a vital part of womanhood and the driving life force behind the entire existence of mankind. But if you think about it, we wouldn't be here if women didn't have periods. And although period related problems are common, this doesn't mean that they're normal. Each of the books that we will be discussing today provide valuable insight and solutions into how we can fix our period problems and celebrate a part of our womanhood that so many of us loathe. Karchmer and Hill both adopt casual and relatable tones in their work, echoing the typical thoughts, feelings, and grievances of women which make us feel seen, heard, and empowered. Pelz's approach has a more nurturing feel to it, as she gently guides you through her book with clear explanations about the inner workings of your body. Then, throughout the book, she reinforces the importance of compassion, community, and understanding. So let's start with Fast Like a Girl. I really love this one. Dr. Mindy Pelz is a holistic health expert, and the main point of her book is to talk about how period problems are typically related to hormonal imbalances. And so she talks about the things that you should eat and the fasting schedules that you should follow in order to correct them. Dr. Pelz advises us to avoid processed foods and eat healthy organic foods. So my favorite recipe is her pumpkin stew. There's literally no meat in it. Well, apart from the bone broth, because I use beef bone broth, but it's so nutritious and rich, and I literally eat it every single week like it's a staple in my diet. She divides the hormonal cycle into 4 different parts, and this is a common theme that you'll see with the books that I speak about today. The period cycle is split up and divided because we need different things at different times of the month. But I think it also is a reminder to me of how complex and changeable women are, and how we can't run on the same 24-hour cycle that men do, or a cycle that is given to us by work. It's very specific to women and specific to each individual. So the next book is Period Power by Maisie Hill. So this book has a casual, relatable tone, and I think it's really good for people who don't like feeling overwhelmed by statistics and data. I'm kind of like that, but I just felt myself feeling a better understanding of my cycle after reading this one. And I think she gets across the importance of tracking your cycle and the patterns that happen. So she encourages you to write down your thoughts, feelings, and moods at different times of the cycle, so you can start to see patterns and attribute it to particular parts of your cycle, so you can prepare for that part of your cycle a month in advance. Some things that you can track are your energy levels, your libido, your mood, your feelings, your thoughts, your appetite. And I use the Clue app to do this. I log it as much as possible. Sometimes I forget, but I try to consistently log so I can see the patterns throughout my cycle. Reading her book also introduced me to the idea of your menstrual cycle being like the cycle of seasons around the year. So winter being menstruation and calling for inwardness and introspection, spring being your follicular phase, calling for playfulness and potential and possibilities, ovulation phase, calling for boldness and boisterousness and attraction to everything around you, and then autumn being attributed to your luteal phase, which is again retreating, renewing, reviewing things, and becoming a recluse in some senses. So the last book we're going to talk about is Seeing Red by Kirsten Karchmer. I think that's how you say it. Karchmer? I think I immediately identified with this author because she spoke about the shame she had surrounding her periods, even though she lived in a house full of women, which is exactly the experience that I had in a female-dominated family and household. In particular, there was no men in my house, and I still felt so ashamed. And she spoke about how she had to outsource for her advice on how to deal with her periods, even though her siblings were there and even though her mum was there, and that's something that I felt like I went through as well. Another thing I liked about this book was how definitive she was about what is healthy and what is not healthy. She speaks about the ideal period cycle, and essentially people refer to the 24-day period cycle with 4 days of bleeding, no pain, and regularity of the cycle as a unicorn cycle, as if it's something that is rare. And she's trying to say that it's not rare and that's how it should be. And if it's not, then you have to get to the bottom of your problems. And I really, really like that sentiment, because I feel like I've often been fed a lot of rhetoric that, a variance of 35 days is normal, or a variance of dark blood and light blood and this and cramping is okay. And she was like, nope, this is healthy and this is not. So I really liked how definitive she was. So I think the main purposes of these books and the messages they conveyed is that eating and fasting in alignment with your cycle is necessary for perfect periods and not problematic periods. And also, they emphasize the importance of tracking how you feel throughout the month so you can understand the pattern of you at different times in the month in alignment with your menstrual cycle. So those are my favorite period books, but I would love to hear what you guys read to help you with your period problems or any sort of related text or resources. Please share it in the comments below so that I can educate myself and everybody else can educate themselves too.